Oh,
Okay, you are audio as well.
thank you. Welcome everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Environment and Sustainability Committee meeting for this Wednesday, September 9th. Order of business called to order, which you've done. Declarations of conflict of interest. I see none today. Approval of the agenda. Anything to be read?
Looks good, sir.
I think that one would be
Surprising.
great.
Okay.
Oh, it says
The approval of the minutes for July 28th, if everyone just take a second to look at their minutes. And I'll need a mover and a second for that. Once we move by
yeah, no,
Mayor Brown, seconded by Councilor McCabe. Business arising from those minutes, I see none.
Yes, sir. I just want to say
Okay.
B under page 2, tree protection bylaw. I want to just say, working with Jessica has been very efficient and productive. She's following up on a lot of issues that I'm sure I'm not the only one forwarding it to her, but it's been a big help because we're starting to learn more about the value of our trees and the environment. But Mr. Chair, during the federal election they mentioned that there would be a planting of 2 billion trees. Do we have any information coming from the feds about how do we get part of that program? The promise was made to plant 2 billion trees across Canada.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're at with that. I mean, I could definitely look into it and see what the scoop is for sure.
Yeah, because trees are
Well,
not only great for climate change, the adaptation to climate change, but also the whole issue of they absorb CO2, or no,
yeah.
carbon dioxide, CO2, and provide oxygen. So, I think it's something we should follow up on, Jessica.
Sure, no problem.
But other than that, no, it's been very well. And just on the slow streets proposal, this past weekend I was over to Halifax. I took my son to SMU and stopped by some areas where they had the slow street policy in place. But I'm going to email Ramona some of the photos of signage they have to explain what does it mean, the slow street issue. I think we erect a couple of slow streets on King between Prince and Great George.
We did on Gay.
I know Gay.
Well, I thought it was just Gay and W. Burns.
No, and then I think.
You've added a couple of streets.
Yeah, I think we added one in Atlanta's area there, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people, residents are just trying to figure out like what's going on here.
Yeah.
In Halifax, they have with
And that was the issue.
signage,
Yeah.
but they also have, not everybody reads. I know that.
Yeah.
We know that about the doggy bags out at the park. Too bad the dogs couldn't read. But the point is that we have an issue where the information should be
Yeah.
available in print.
It isn't quite clear, and I learned that through with W. Burns. Even though I went door to door, I missed some people, so they were concerned about it. And it's like everything. Some people are for it, some people are against it, and then of course the communication with the garbage and all that. So it's very important that those signs get out, that the communication gets out. I think that's the key. I think it's a great initiative.
Oh, I think it is too. Yeah.
I just think that if people are not in the know soon enough, they can they get confused with why we're doing it. So instead of being a nice thing, they kind of sound like it might have been an obstacle, especially when the garbage was picked up. So it was a learning curve, and we've learned from that. And both Public Works and our committee have done a good job in that. And Alana also Ward 1. Yankoff, she had already some people in her ward suggest they'd like to have that.
Good.
So that's we said, okay, well, let's transfer it over. So
Good.
it's in her ward.
Yeah.
So
So it's a good start, and again, it's something that came from the
From
task force on active transportation. Yeah.
So, Your Worship, sorry, did you say you had some pictures?
I'm
of
going to
some
forward them to
signs?
you.
Okay.
Yeah. My son and I, we got lost looking for the Halifax Shopping Center, so landed in some of these streets that had slow traffic. So that's why it was great that I could do it. And just the last point,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, on page 2, Pesticide Regulation. I just wanted to find out about the data tracking. Are we doing some data tracking on for our cosmetic pesticide spraying. That is, we get a call, and then we have an inspection, and then it's either confirmed or rejected.
Right.
So do we have a database?
Katrina, do you have anything to give?
You
Sorry,
do
I
have
was focused on.
Just on the
Hold on for a
pesticide,
second.
just on like what data we've got collected on the pesticide, when the call comes in, do we have a list of, whether it was approved or whether it was rejected? I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure we do, but.
We do, yeah, we have
Yeah.
all that information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and perhaps,
I'm just asking for, could I get, is it possible, are the numbers, or the data public? That's public data, is it not?
It would be FOIPable, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all it basically, we've been tracking it from the beginning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have the address, we don't deny very often, so that wouldn't be a very large number,
maybe
but we would
for-
certainly have locations.
maybe for our September 22nd meeting, we could have a few numbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just look at the numbers, that's all.
Yeah.
And I don't need names or
No.
addresses.
Okay, yeah. I
How
have
many
a rough
applied?
idea. Well, I know everybody was accepted, we didn't deny anybody
Yeah.
this year.
And
But
was each property inspected, or just applied and then given?
We don't do inspections on every single, we did in year one, but we do now like a spot sampling.
So you do
but-
random sampling?
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and I can have a ratio of what we.
Thank you very much.
I don't know
That's it,
that
sir.
off the top of my head, but-
Oh, anything else?
Nope.
No, we're good. To move on from minutes of business arising from the minutes, reports. A would be Honeywell, and Matt is going to take the floor.
Thank you, Counselor. So this is the energy performance contract update. The City Council awarded the energy performance contract in March, and the objective of this contract was to start a phase 1 study to reduce carbon emission, achieve energy saving, improve facility conditions, and show leadership in the community for environmental transformation for city-owned and managed facilities. So this project was supposed to be a 2-phase project, in which the first phase was going to look at a comprehensive energy audit of all city-owned facilities, and phase 2 looked at the implementation of all the recommendations which come up from Honeywell for this. So far, the phase 1's going well, and
Yep.
Honeywell has divided the phase 1 into 3 major milestones: the 30%, 60%, and 90%, with conceptual review, program scope refinement, and final program. On 18th August, Honeywell presented their final findings. They presented their findings with regards to city-owned facilities. They had a bunch of recommendations, and the summary included LED fixtures, HVAC upgrades, new biogas for the pollution control plant, net zero lab facility for the West Royalty Community Center, deferred maintenance, and much more. A list of this could be provided as needed. On your document, you could see a bunch of percentages of electric improvements and district heat reductions for each facility, divided into 4 different parts: Eastlink Center, Belline Center, pollution control plant, and public works, parks and rec buildings. This project is approximately going to cost around $10 million as of the 60% mark. External funding sources could cover as much of $650,000 of the cost of this project. And if we move forward and have all these upgrades done, we could have annual savings of around $612,000. The payback time for this project at the 60% mark is 16.8 years. And the greenhouse gas reduction is going to be equivalent of 14% of carbon dioxide per year. Honeywell will be working over the next few months to further refine the recommendations and finalize cost-saving projects. Additionally, the city and Honeywell will also finalize a contract mechanism, solidify financing options, and communicate plan over the next few months. So this was just a quick update about the energy performance contract. We would come back around October 9th with a 90% deliverable, where we would have more fixed deliverables to present. And based on that, council and committee and then council would have to make the decision of if we are going to move forward to phase 2 or not.
Thank you very much. Just anything we do to reduce carbon emissions is great, and to achieve some savings. Did we say what time frame before the next step? Did we say that in the report?
So, timeframe
As to when the second part of the finance side of things, do we have a time frame on that?
So currently, on 2nd of October, when we come back with a 90% report from Honeywell,
Oh, okay.
We would decide if we want to move forward with
Right.
what we want to move forward, and based on that, we would decide on a new time frame for phase 2.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions for Ahmed?
Yep.
Councilor Bernard?
Ahmed, the net zero lab at West Raleigh Community Center, what's that?
So the learning lab is, it's going to be state-of-the-art. It's going to be something new Charlottetown or PEI has not seen so far. It's going to look at solar panels. It's going to look at different new innovative technology, which is going to transform West Royalty Community Center as a learning hub for Holland College and UPEI students. There has been initial talks with UPEI and Holland College with regards to that.
That's the first I heard of that. Anybody else heard of that?
At this point, Mr. Chair, we're just looking at options for that. It wouldn't change the use of the facility. So the facility would still be a community center. We're just looking at how do we integrate some of these energy upgrades in a way that actually have a public education component. So is there ways that we can create sort of a training space that UPEI and Holland College students could come and look at? This is how the solar system works at this facility. This is how, like, the various sort of things that we put in place. But we are just fleshing out a proposal at this point. We would then bring it to council, and if council says this isn't something we want to invest in, or even at the staff level, if we think this is too much cost for the benefit, then we wouldn't even bring it forward as a recommendation. It's just one thing that we're examining as like an outreach component of the project, and to build that relationship with Holland College and UPEI. But
So,
not set in stone.
So Ahmed, the HVAC upgrades, is that for just the community centers, or is that?
So that's for different facilities. So for example, the police station is part of it. Some different community centers would get HVAC system upgrades, and I could give you a more detailed list of this if.
Well, I'm just curious, when we talk HVAC, are we also talking like heat pumps?
No.
No?
Heating, ventilation, air conditioner, that's what it
Okay,
means.
so
Heat pumps,
It could include heat pumps, which as an upgrade, so yes. It
Yeah.
could be.
but it hasn't fallen under HVAC.
No.
But when you're talking HVAC upgrades, are you talking like heat pumps?
So yes, in this program, in this project, they do look at heat pumps.
All right, okay.
All they do is-
And so, does West Raleigh Community Center have heat pumps yet?
West Royalty Community Center has heat pumps installed in there.
Does Hillsborough Park Community Center?
I don't know that on the top of my head.
And does the police station, do we know? Does it have heat pumps?
I don't believe the police station or Hillsborough Park has them. We have them in the office spaces at West Royalty Community Center. Like, it's not heating the gym with the heat pumps, it's heating
Just the
like.
office, so it's just a small heat pump.
Exactly. And the same at Public Works. We're heating office spaces at City Works with heat pumps, but not the main building.
So is that something that the environment's looking at?
Yes, absolutely. So they'll look at heat pumps, they'll look at heating and cooling for the entire facility, and it might be different components. It might be one component that they use for heating the large spaces, and some that they use for heating sort of office spaces.
Okay, so somebody, I assume, Ramon, is going through what the oil is going through at Hillsborough Community Center and West Raleigh and the offset from
Absolutely.
heat pump.
Yep, and they're looking at solar options as well for these facilities as well.
Good.
You know, it's I like the kind of the education component side of that. Even Charlottetown Rural in Colonel Gray, like, you know, especially Charlotte, or the rural there with their already environmental footprint. You know, that might be something that they could go to the
A
next
place
step
where
too.
we could do tours and,
Yeah, I think it'd be.
But you may want to keep in the back of your head, too,
Yeah.
that John Andrews is donating that land to Holland College
Yes.
for watershed program. And
Is
so they're going to be doing,
culinary too.
they're going to be doing over the burn and making labs and so on. So it may be something that you
No, that's a great
look at and get a lot
suggestion.
more funding.
Yeah.
Is
What's
it
that?
Culinary Institute also, or just, that they're looking at a couple of options?
Not in John's property.
And Hamad, I can fill you in on that project a little bit afterwards.
I think once we see the detailed numbers from Honeywell, it'll, I'm sure that's what they're gonna do, is they're gonna give us what the cost is now, and this is what they're.
Well, I just wonder when it's 10 million, so it's basically 11 million, but it looks like 10.9 million.
Yeah.
612 is the average savings, and
Yeah.
external funding for 650, I would think to be a lot more than 650 for external funding.
This now includes projects that might fall under ICIP, that then will fall off of here because we get greater funding from the ICIP.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Program, so some of these may fall off as we continue to do further analysis.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, Peter, with sustainability projects, is there not a lot more money with the federal government than what I'm seeing here? Like you're just talking about the ISIP funding?
There's different programs, yeah, the ISAP has, for instance, the ones for the treatment plant. We had applied for some funding programs there. If we get it, then that will come out of these funds, because we get up to 80 cent dollars.
Yes,
versus
right.
there. So
Yeah.
this is just the
Okay.
preliminary.
Okay.
We'll continue to refine this list, and we'll come back to council for discussion.
So, Mr. Chair,
Thanks, Herman.
just on that,
Yeah,
Mr. Chair.
thanks, man. Yep.
Last week in Summerside, the city of Summerside provided an overview of their new solar panel farm. And from the federal government, it'll be $26.3 million coming from the feds. Provincial, $21 million. And from the city itself, $3 million. So there are funds in different envelopes.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to get a clarification on what we're proposing. The preliminary selection of energy upgrades identified at the 60% review meeting would have a projected total project cost of approximately $11 million. So that 11 million, as Councilor Bernard was saying, we're looking at similar to Summerside, federal, provincial, and a little money from us.
Well, I mean, it depends what initiative we're doing
Summerside's
and
doing
what
something,
program we're eligible for under that.
So this amount here, Your Worship,
The 11 million?
is what they will fund if they want to fund, and we would pay back to our
Savings.
Our savings, or we could do it on other programs as well. So again, this is just the preliminary. Once we have a chance to do further analysis, and it depends on programs out there, either ICIP and other programs, this big number I think may change.
Okay.
And this also includes deferred maintenance and bringing a few buildings up to code as needed. So for those things, it's hard to get incentives for.
So Herman, where's the electric charging stations?
That's Public Works.
I can give a status update on that project, but it's a separate piece if
But
you
that's
like.
Public Works.
Yeah.
But good things are coming. That's all I can say.
That's
Okay,
right.
there we go. Any other questions, folks, on that? If not, we'll move on to B and C. I'll let Ramona, it's the award of the fare boxes and the construction tender. So Ramona, if you'd like to.
Yes, my apologies to the committee, but I'm not prepared to present those two reports. There's some delays on the pricing, the final pricing. There was some adjustments made to pricing on both tenders. And by the time the meeting started, I didn't have the finalized pricing. So ideally, I'd still like to bring that on Monday night, but I know it'll depend on whether I can get that first thing in the morning to committee for review, and then it will have to go to finance first. So
Yeah.
we may need to make some adjustments.
Your finance meeting on the 15th.
Yeah.
There is a finance meeting on the 15th. Okay. So
We
maybe
could probably have a
But
special
if we
meeting.
have to, we can have a special, there'll be a special meeting. Mr. Kelly will organize it.
It'd be nice to have the information. That's for sure.
Thanks, Peter.
It's always organized, and I find out after.
Yes,
Okay.
Can you send me the tender documents on that?
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then again, even if we, 15, when's the 15th?
The 15th's the day after council.
Oh, it's Tuesday,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
But that would be fine
Yeah.
if there was
Yeah, we
something.
were gonna, tomorrow's get moved.
Yeah,
We have
okay.
guys coming in for presentation,
Yeah,
and
and then-
there's only a couple of resolutions on.
yeah. And we meet again on the 22nd too, so. if we have to, perhaps go to finance and then come back to us on the 22nd, then we can, then have it, but that might be.
I don't think it
too
needs to
early.
come back.
No,
No, it would more so, we would maybe circulate by email if you would be
Yes,
okay with
okay.
that,
I
and
see what you
then
wanna
bring it
do.
to finance on the
Okay.
15th,
Okay,
if that's okay with you.
so just before we go on, sir,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, a letter I got on August 3rd from PIE,
mhm.
pleased to inform you the approval on principle for the city of Charlottetown's application in the amount of 482 for the phase 1.
Mhm.
So the tenders that did come in, do we need more
Are
money?
there, yes, so we could have that discussion right now, so
No,
regardless
I'm
of.
just asking.
Yeah.
It is more.
It is more, so the pricing that has come back, so we have a couple of options. We can reduce our costs on the project if we decide that we don't want to proceed with lighting on the highway project. But I do think it would be good to go ahead with it while we're tearing everything up, because then the lighting will be in place. I have been told by the province that this fund is not fully subscribed and that they would look to increase the amount of their allocation. It would just be that we would also have to increase our allocation for the.
So our allocation right now, I thought we had 800,000 budget, or 863.
Yes, so the total, that's what's in the capital budget,
Yeah.
but the total project cost is actually 965 based on the 482.
So how much is the lights,
thousand.
Ramona?
The
That
lights,
section of that
there's
project?
two different prices on the lights. In one bid, the lights were 240,000. In one bid, the lights were 140,000.
So I tell you what I would suggest, it'd be nice to get through one winter
Mm-hmm.
before we put the lights up, in case the snow just tears everything apart. Because you're on the bypass highway, they're doing 50 kilometers an hour.
But you're gonna,
But
do
how
it all in
much,
one.
but how much extra would it be?
Yeah, I was just
Not-
saying-
You know what? They're not cutting it as asphalt around there. It's just in the clay. They're just running lines, electric lines in the clay. It's not like it's,
You're not tearing up infrastructure.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
we could do it all at once. September 1st is 145,000 for multi-use pathway in Beech Grove. We
Right.
can't transfer that over to this one?
I think we can get the Beech Grove as well as additional funding, is my understanding.
No, that's been approved, 140,000.
Yes, I just mean, the money is needed for Beech Grove, is it not?
Mhm.
Yes,
So
We have to do it?
well, it's in our,
I think the council of the area is probably expecting it to be done.
Yeah.
You suggest to cancel it?
No, amalgamate it with
with regards
Riverside Drive.
with regards to the other project,
He's one of the ones we seem to get along with, so keep it that way.
Yeah.
with regards to the other project, it may be cost effective to do it all at the same time, council, although we could phase it in, but it'd be cheaper while they're in there doing the construction to do it all at a time. And if we
Yeah,
can-
no, and I understand that, but I know there'll be a little extra cost. I guess for me, the unknown is a couple of things. One, is how's the winter gonna handle the light standards that you put up? These are old-fashioned lanterns, correct?
No, we're
No,
not
I don't think
using
so.
the lanterns along
What
the
are you using?
highway.
What-
I'll send you those tender documents. I don't know.
It's a standard light.
It's a
Yeah,
standard light
it's
bulb.
not
It's similar to what they have in
it's not a
Canada.
decorative lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to be like what we have the trails thing.
I think that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
And these,
Okay, so that's direct lighting, so that's not gonna impact anybody.
No.
and these lights will help guide the plows and others to go through there.
Yeah,
Make sure that they don't do.
Hope you know that route by now.
This will be a new one, version.
It's new.
These are new pathways.
Yeah.
We'll be going to the dog park.
So let's carry on. I think it's-
How much extra money are you needing from us?
Okay, well, it depends on which
Roughly.
submission, but if we look at the one that, the low bid compared to where we're at right now,
So we had 863, I think
we
you were
had
saying
863. You need
965?
another 100,000,
yeah,
That's
we
nothing.
need another
put
100,000.
100,000.
We'd have that
No,
in the
that's
budget.
not right.
Do it, do it, yeah.
They'll go from 482 to 550.
Yeah, I'd do
Yeah.
that.
But he would have that in the budget.
Get it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, I think we especially do it all at once.
Mr. Chair, you're gonna see this transit fund is, as Ramona knows, they're using it for other.
Oh, there is.
So
Yeah, you said
If
that.
we put our bid in and we come back for something else, well, they'll say, hey,
Yeah.
we
But
know you're
Ramona,
serious.
Ramona, is that 100,000 of city money or 100,000
No, city.
split between the two?
It's 1.1 million is the low bid right now. So if we split that in half, it's 550 each, and the province has given us 482 already.
Yeah,
So it's about 75 to 100,000 city
Each.
money.
Yeah.
each, yeah.
Okay,
Which is pretty good, really.
that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, hey, anything further on construction tender? No? Everybody good?
Could I ask, Mr. Chair, is there some way of getting this through before Monday, or do we have,
Well, I think if
want to leave it
if-
till after and then we
well, I think if the cards fall
follow
into
the
place.
process?
Because-
You know what, to me, the two tender documents that we're looking at now, Ramona, the lowest bid is at the 1.1.
Yes.
Is that what we're recommending go with?
Currently, right now, we're unsure if the low bid is compliant, and that's where the
But we need to
holdup
wait to
is.
hear
That's what
that.
the whole-
We
Okay,
need to hurry.
yeah.
No, we're best to, yeah.
You want to make sure you get a contract and finish it.
We meet Tuesday, and you can have a meeting
Yeah,
Tuesday
meet
night or
Tuesday,
Wednesday.
and-
Halfway through, okay, we're done.
We can either do it by email or
Yeah.
whatever.
The
Okay,
engineers are now doing the analysis now.
right,
Yeah.
okay, no.
Or it's gonna rain for the mayor's cup, we may get some work done there.
All right, let's move to D, the tree and earth campaign, I believe Katrina.
Yes, me. So with this report, we are seeking approval to execute a tree appreciation campaign. It would act to promote awareness of the importance of trees in Charlottetown, to celebrate our urban forest, and also to support the local arts community. And then an additional benefit would be to hopefully gain some public support for the policy work that the city's doing around trees. It would involve pairing 5 island artists with 5 of the trees in downtown Charlottetown. The artists would then be commissioned to either create a work of art, or some of them actually have really interesting pre-existing artwork that relates to trees. And all of the artwork would be inspired by trees in general or these specific trees. It would be then exhibited alongside the tree for a period of time. We're aiming for the beginning of October. And so it would have to be on a case-by-case basis, because some could be displayed right there, some might need to be, we might need to get a little bit creative. Then the intent would be to do a tree walk to highlight the project, where people could go around and see the artists present their work. We would do this in small groups and be guided by city staff to be able to engage with the artists and also make sure we're complying with any sort of COVID-19 requirements from public health. If for any reason things change by then and we're unable to do the walk, we have lots of ideas to be able to do this in a virtual format. And then in addition to those walks, we intend to do a campaign that, using social media, radio, and advertisements in the buzz, to further the messaging around the importance of trees. This project would directly contribute to a number of goals within the ICSP, specifically around celebrating the city's flora and fauna, as well as supporting public art and emerging artists.
So just out of curiosity, Katrina.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the budget that was in the packets.
Yeah,
So honorariums, 2,500, so that's the artist honorarium. So how many artists is there?
5.
5 artists. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to visualize what it is when we say art with the trees.
Yep.
So what are we talking about?
It would really be on a case-by-case basis. Each one would be different. So 2 that I've, no commitments have been made because this hasn't been approved, of course, but just in chatting with a couple of artists. One, she's made these, she's knitted them actually, and they're roots. And it shows, like, it goes around the tree and it's like roots going into the ground. And it has, many components as so much art does, but sort of about the roots that we place in our homes, and I think trees are a really big part of that, and it's got a really interesting link there. Another was talking about sort of creating figurines out of different materials, and they would be interacting with the tree in very light materials, so it would be really easy to attach to the trees. They could be like climbing it or looking up at it.
So it's more art, there'd be nothing left for the city to use at the end of the day. Does the art go with them after a week or whatever? Does it stay there, or is it?
Yeah, we would be hoping to leave it up for at least a couple of weeks, but yeah, for the most part, it would stay with the artist.
Question for you, Katrina, is, so do we have any type of guidelines as to how they're gonna attach this art to the tree? Are we gonna let them put nails in the trees?
No, absolutely.
Trina and Jessica will be there
But I just say,
with their fatigues on, taking
if you don't explain things,
Oh, absolutely. This is a joint project between Jessica and I, and she will be very much involved with making sure
Oh, Jessica?
no trees are harmed in the execution of this project.
Okay, cool. And then crazy glue and.
Yeah.
So you say, I think about doing a walk, so you're not necessarily, it's more or less just in the downtown core, you're not looking.
Yeah.
It's like-
No, the loop, I think that the loop that we've mapped out is about 2.5 kilometers, like
Okay.
the full loop.
Okay. I just don't know, like, how will that be, kind of accepted, like, there are beautiful trees all throughout the city, right?
I agree with you. I
And I'm
agree.
just wondering, like, there's East Raleigh and Parkdale, and
Yeah.
we have some beautiful trees. I just wondered, and if it's a case of the tour, well, then maybe, we could have tries towards T3 Transit, put us on a
The
bus.
nicest
and-
trees are in East Raleigh.
Yeah,
Yeah, where are they?
The oak trees.
Where are
yeah.
they?
lots of stuff
That's
that,
it, it's NAPA protected. You don't know, you're the
because of
mayor.
all the good stuff that makes it grow. But anyway, I'm just,
Yeah.
I think it's worth expanding it to
Yeah.
whether there's, some trees besides just in the downtown core. We all know there's always trees in the downtown core, but there are some that are out too, and I think some councillors might consider
East
it be
Raleigh.
nice to have in there.
Mr. Chair?
Raleigh.
Yeah.
Fully agree with you.
Yeah.
And Katrina, I know that it's the critical mass is in the core of the city,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes it easier it's easier to provide these walking tours.
Yeah.
But there are some, like, if you go through East Royalty, West Royalty, Sherwood,
Yeah,
Winslow,
Sherwood.
there are areas where there are beautiful trees.
We all-
And I think, it makes it a more of an inclusive presentation.
Yeah.
So I would agree, and I know you've done a lot of work on this, but I would just, if we don't do it this year,
I
definitely
think
for
it
next
can
year.
come
but-
out what he has planned this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
wonder
gotta
if-
start somewhere, that's right.
Yeah.
Would you be, Mr. Chair, would you be open to having it in the downtown this year, and if it's successful, we could potentially move it around in future years?
Just spread it around the whole city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a great suggestion. I just have concerns too, if it would be a great test to be able to walk it and keep it. And if, I like the idea of moving it around to different neighborhoods, because I just worry if we get it too spread out, it's not accessible, and, people may not go to all of them, and it doesn't kind of have the same maybe feel.
But it becomes more of a neighborhood appreciation.
Yeah.
And we do have 7 neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Neighborhood of West Royalty, East, the 7 municipalities that amalgamated in 1995. So, maybe we don't do a tour, but we just identify them on our website that these are areas that you should be visiting. It's like everybody is trying to promote, go to Victoria Park, but we have great neighborhood parks around this city, and that's what I like to people.
But we have the Acadian forest, it's really.
And there's another example.
NAPA protected oak trees there.
So and if you walk along where this new mental health and acute care facility campus is going, that's in that beautiful
Acadian
area.
forest there, yeah.
Yeah. But could I just one clarification?
Yep.
Councilor Bernard, did you say honorariums, is it 2,500?
$500.
Yeah,
per
okay,
artist.
I just.
Divide it by 5.
Yeah, thank you.
So this comes out of the sustainability pillars.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it falls in within your ISIP, what you want to do with the
So,
Yeah.
plan, right?
Katrina, the tours that you're talking about, so who fronts that? Who goes ahead and does the tour and talks about the different species of trees? I assume that's what they're going to be doing, talking about the different species. So is that,
It would be us, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. The tree lady.
Oh, she's more than
The
that.
thought is to have
She's the
5
food
leaders,
specialist.
I would be one of 5.
Yeah. but-
5 what?
The thought is to have 5 leaders, to break their group up into smaller groups. So say there's 5 artists at 5 trees, it'd be kind of like a shotgun start with 1 leader and 1 group at each tree, and then we would just rotate.
So where is it going to be this year? Victoria Park?
No, so I don't want to speak for Katrina because it's her report. If you want to.
No, go ahead, it's okay.
So we had tentatively picked 5 trees in the downtown. Connaught Square, Rochford Square was one, the big iconic Elm Street on Grafton Street.
Oh, you just picked like 5 trees?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 trees, 5 artists. Yeah. And it's a 2.5 kilometer loop, so we tried to make something that's walkable within an hour, get people out, take them on a short loop, and stop and learn about each tree and learn about the artist. And
So I think moving forward, I think the best way to present this is that because it's a closer proximity, to start that, moving forward, that we would move it to other communities.
Expand it.
And that way you have time to work on transit tour and whatever, right? Because, I mean, you might have a little separation, you know, depending on where you're going with.
Yeah.
But it's understandable how you'd want to pick the downtown port
But
first.
I would think that I would add more to it as opposed to
Or
going to
even
different
add more.
areas and look at one tree. I think I would do like an Acadian forest tour.
Yeah.
Go around.
Or, yeah, I
Yeah.
think I'd pick a stand.
Yeah, yeah. No.
You know what, there's a lot of nice ones, a lot of people don't even know about. We have trails through them.
Oh, I know, there's trails all over the city we don't.
Yeah.
And,
might have-
but anyway, yeah, but, it's, you know,
So
I just think it's
to clarify,
important.
you like it mentioned in our release that in the future it will be expanded to
Expanded,
other
yeah.
areas of the city?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think that'd be a good thing.
Sure, yeah.
Katrina, Mr. Chair, if I could ask,
Yeah.
Katrina, is the Art and Culture Council,
I was just gonna ask that.
are they part of this, or are we working in?
They haven't been to this point, no.
I just wanted to find out.
Should we work with the committee and
Or is it something you want to do?
Are they, how active are they right
Oh,
now?
they're
They're
active.
active.
Okay,
Yeah,
You may just want to reach out to the chair, who's
Yeah.
Barry McLeod, is just that she can inform her
yeah,
committee members, and they can get it through their own
And-
network.
and
okay.
that falls under,
I just wouldn't want to, it wouldn't be a great idea that they were caught off guard. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And the economic development as well, right? And the committee that the art's under should be,
Yeah,
they should be included in this as well, really.
it's just, again, information only.
Yeah, yeah, just so that everyone's, you know, the communication's a wonderful thing, as we say.
Yes.
Anything to add, Councillor McCabe, anything?
No, I think it's a
You
great
good?
idea.
No, just, as we all know, there's good trees in all our neighborhoods, and I think it's, you know, this would be the easiest one to start first for sure, and then hopefully it'll expand, yeah. Okay, any other questions, concerns on it? Thank you very much, Katrina. Full council for new members. Katrina, you're on the floor again. Important.
So, as we've recently discussed, the Food Council recently hit its 2-year mark, which meant that a number of members had their 2-year terms end this summer. Because of that, we did an open call for applications to fill any empty spaces.
So was the appointment only for 2 years?
Sorry?
Was the appointments only for 2 years?
Yes.
I never heard that. What?
Yeah, all this.
So are all our committees 2 years?
We kind of had it opened up the door where at the 2-year mark, we might evaluate all the committees as to how they're doing.
Okay.
And whether that they're worthwhile or whether they're, you know,
Okay.
really responsive, you know, that if they're not serving a real good purpose. And
I thought this particular one, there was a lot of people not showing up, so they were just looking for new names.
But no, they reduced the size.
I never heard
But
that.
this one,
So-
but they weren't getting paid before this group. Right, they
Well, she
weren't
reduced
part
the
of the,
size.
they weren't one of the advisory groups.
You did, yeah.
We're paying them.
We just approved this recently, that they were struggling with that, right? There's too many members, and they couldn't get everybody together, or, and so they weren't dedicated enough, so we decided to shrink the
Charlottesville
committee
Farmers Market.
and put it into the advisory committee envelope, where they'll get paid a stipend to come each
No,
month.
but I thought last month
Right in the area?
when you reported that there was a lot not showing up.
There was a number not showing up, yeah, and
So
we
you're
had
looking to
about,
reduce the numbers. and
But
get-
we're
which
down
we
to.
did, that's been passed through, the CAC and,
So I didn't know there was a 2-year cutoff for these people that were named in it.
So in all committees, it
All
was
committees.
suggested that it be two
2 years
years,
to
but
start
the
out.
option of another 2 years as well. But-
yes.
Is that all the advisory committees?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're getting close to the 2-year mark.
Yeah.
Coming up in November, right, sir?
Yeah, so,
Right on.
Chair.
so anyway, carry on, Katrina.
So we
Sorry, you're
had
right.
chosen to reduce the size of the council from 10 to 14 to 6 to 8. And we also chose to give them the stipend that you were talking about. And we chose to do this right now because of the member terms ending. We thought it was a good opportunity to, reduce the size of the council without just booting people off. So with that, we did the open call for applications. 12 applications were received and reviewed, and from that, 6 applications were selected. 4 of those members were returning, and 2 are new to the council. And then that's in addition to 2 members that had an existing year left on their term because they joined the council later than the others. And so that served to compose an 8-member committee, and the committee is quite diverse. If you can see from the table there, it lists the food system representation, where they sort of come from, and we were able to achieve quite a good mix of the different areas of the food system. And you can also review the names of the proposed members there.
So Tina, I'm going to ask you a tough question. So in the last 2 years, has there been much progress towards this goal of improving the food system in Charlotte?
I do think that they've set a really good groundwork for moving forward. So they've spent a lot of time, and I mean, I'm newer to working with the Food Council. Jess was the one that started everything and did a lot of the preliminary work with them. But from what I've seen, they were able to create a food charter for the city, which is a brand new thing. They've done a number of events, which I think were valuable to the community. And most recently, they've been working on a food asset map. And that project hasn't reached completion yet, but it's come a long way and it's very close. And they've done a really good job of it. And I think that will be a very big asset to the city.
So food asset map, what would I expect when that was done? What would I expect to see?
So right now we do actually have a prototype, although I'm not sure if it's shareable at the moment. But basically it's a compilation of all of the different food-related assets in the city. So, you know, it may be grocery stores, it may be emergency food sources, it may be growers, that kind of thing.
Where you can find this, where you can find that.
Yeah, exactly. And it will be searchable and sortable on a map format and available on our website.
Yeah.
And if I might add, with COVID, it kind of brought that to the forefront as well,
Yeah,
right? That it's
exactly.
important that we know what food sources we have
Yeah.
within our reach because.
Oh, I think you know where all the food is.
Yeah. but I haven't flattened the curve yet. But you know, it's important, and I know the province. I think they created their own as well. I think they're working side by side as well on the same thing. That going forward, you know, with a pandemic like this, it's kind of important to know what your food sources are moving forward. Right? So,
Exactly.
Yep.
May I just add one thing to that too? One thing that I like about the Food Council that we've done is when we're selecting members, we're looking at having them be representatives of food organizations.
So it's a
So
bigger
there's
group.
a component of the Food Council that's really about partnership
Yeah.
development,
Right.
even more so than them being necessarily even citizen advisors. They're coming with their organization
Yeah.
and they're creating that relationship with the city. So, you know, the farm center's on there, the Legacy Garden, the farmers market, the agricultural or the organic producers co-op. So I think that piece is something unique about the Food Council that we do that I think helps kind of build those community partnerships.
and it's important to commend them because I mean these were all individual people that are trying to run a business and they've taken the time to volunteer to get this thing going simply because it's we're just finding out just how important of a resource it can be.
Yeah.
So that's out to them. And unfortunately, sometimes in a volunteer group when it gets too big, it's hard to keep that many focused right on what's the task.
And I went to a couple of the Food Council meetings, and it was a big group, but now it's down to 7. And I know, like Bernie Ployd, he's from the Charlottetown Farmers Market. Very, very well recognized for all his work that he's doing there.
And I think when we started the first of this term, I think one of the things we had said was probably no more than 6, or between 6 and 8.
Yeah.
And we wanted people with expertise in
Yeah.
that particular field.
Yeah.
So it looks like the first round we had 14 or 15 people, and a lot of them weren't really interested. So now we're kind of reinventing it and getting people that are involved in that field and getting the numbers down so they can get along.
But Councillor Bernard, I don't think the 14 names went to CAC, did they?
The original.
No,
It
the
was
original group didn't.
pre-CAC, so we founded the Food Council before the
Council Advisory
council
Committee.
had
Yeah.
set up the
Yeah.
advisory committee, so we did our own terms of reference.
Yes, they worked
before.
outside. It was something similar to the Purple Ribbon group
almost-
with Jane Ledwell. They also,
Similar to a task force than it
Yeah.
was an advisory committee.
So
So
could
then
I-
why did it go back to the committee the second time? Advisory
It-
committee.
So this, if we're going to follow process, now that it's a subcommittee and getting paid, these should be referred to the CAC, who then will affirm or reaffirm or whatever. And then goes
So
on
it's
to
because
council.
there's a stipping now and there wasn't before.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's right.
And so it'll go to the CAC and then go to council.
Yeah, so we want to do that before it actually kicks into action. It has to go to the Council Advisory Committee.
Right.
Okay.
And the terms of references are already done, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And now we're just submitting the names,
Yeah.
correct?
Exactly.
So you can organize a meeting before
Yeah.
Monday if you want
And
to.
these are staff
Part-
recommendations
just one Friday.
going to the CAC and onward council.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could perhaps, I could see if we can get one by Friday perhaps, just get the names approved.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. So then you can go to council.
Yeah.
Just
It'd be
a
nice to
proper
get the
process.
meeting
Yeah.
and getting working on stuff.
Okay. Any other?
Job well done.
Yeah, it's
Like the names, I should say,
Yeah.
like, I think it's a great group of people.
Good choice.
I'm not, that's right, I don't want to get caught there. Like the names, okay, that's all you like? No.
Okay, move on.
Well done.
Great job. Any other questions for Katrina, guys? Anybody good? Okay, thank you, Katrina. And our final one is the event update on the business tree challenge at Frank McCauley Park. Jessica, I believe that's yours.
So all of our spring volunteer planting events that we had planned were canceled due to COVID. So now we're recreating those for the fall. So I wanted to talk to you about 2 of them so you're aware of them. So our annual business tree challenge will be at the West Royalty Community Center in the parkland behind it. And we're working with the Ellens Creek Watershed Group on that event as well.
So which one's that one, I'm sorry?
It's on Thursday, September 24th.
Yep.
And it will be most of the day. We're taking businesses in shifts. So it'll basically go from 9:30 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon or something like that. I can give you the exact schedule. if
What's
you
the
want.
plan though?
So it's a tree planting, and so it's local Charlottetown businesses were invited to sign up and come out and plant trees to offset their paper use. So the businesses that we had sign up are Sable Arc Studios, Upstreet, BioVectra, Invesco Canada, and McGuinness Cooper.
So what I'm wondering is, how did you pick the location where to plant the trees?
That was a site that I just identified as a good spot for increased tree cover because the creek that runs there has a little narrow kind of tree cover, and I thought it would look like a good spot for trees. So, and I met with the Ellens Creek Watershed Group a couple of times, and we talked about that site as well. In the past, we've held it at Upton Farmlands, but I wanted to move it to city parkland instead, so that's why we're moving it there.
And it's kind of we used to have the Where Wild Things Grow campaign, and that was at West Raleigh Community area there, and there was always a good turnout.
Yeah.
No, I just want to point out, everything doesn't have to go to West Raleigh.
No.
That's all. So, just pointing that out. And whenever we are looking for stuff, because every time I come in here, I seem to be hearing about West Raleigh Community Center, we're doing this in West Raleigh, doing that in West Raleigh. So, just put it there, nice to spread around a little bit.
Yeah, but these trees are gonna be planted at Spring Park, or at Frank McCauley Park.
No,
Well, these
this
are 2 different events.
2 events. So the Business Tree Challenge is along the creek corridor behind the community center.
Right.
So bringing out the edge of the creek so that there's more shade for water quality, more habitat for wildlife, more erosion, sediment runoff, filtration, all that good stuff. So that's the Business Tree Challenge. The second event is in Councillor McLeod's ward at Frank McCauley Park.
Okay.
And so that's Saturday, September 19th. And so that's open to the general public and people can sign up. We are getting low registration on that event, so any support people can offer in helping to get that out in their communities would be great. So that's Saturday, September 19th at 9:30 in the morning.
Are these trees, I assume, are these donated through?
The Business Tree Challenge, the businesses pay for their trees.
Right.
TD and Arbor Day Foundation funded the Frank McCauley project.
Right.
Yeah.
And the TD one, I think we've had that before.
Yeah.
They have been,
$5,000.
almost
Yeah,
annually
yes.
giving us funding for trees, yes.
$5,000, I think, is that right?
I'm not sure exactly what, can't remember off the top of my head what, but the Frank McCauley planting is part of a bigger project where we put in a swale and are doing the planting as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica, just trying to clarify, last year is, Councilor Bernard's right, last year was the CN 100th anniversary, and they donated 115, well, they were 5-year-old trees.
Yeah.
Right.
They all went up the park along.
Yeah, and you know what, I know that Councilor McLeod was wondering, we should have spread them out a little more.
Yeah.
And if you go out to Montgomery Heights, which is in East Royalty, it's a new development, 100 acres going north-south.
150.
Not many trees there. Like,
Okay.
I know the development is under construction, but it's an open field. Like, we will have to plant trees there, or the developer will have to plant
And if
trees.
you're talking things like for the airport for fumes and whatever that word you used before the meeting started, I'm sorry, I'm tired, but there's lots of spaces where you could plant these trees to help offset
Like the carbon dioxide emissions and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think I brought it up 2 months ago.
Around the airport.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
now I'm finished, yeah.
Deaf in that ear.
No, I
Not
know,
up in the
no.
door. But there was a program going on, I think you and I might have talked about it, where they were going into subdivisions in West Raleigh, offering free trees. And I think the best thing is probably is you buy a tree and we'll match a tree, and you get 2 of them. And East Raleigh years ago used to do that, as opposed to going to the doors and asking if they want a tree. And I know they did it because my sister-in-law was one of them that knocked the door and put a tree in the front yard. So, no
Was that-
cost rather than just
and who-
one
and
tree in
who
your
was
yard.
doing- And who was doing that, Terry?
What's that?
And who was doing that?
The city. So I think at least if you went and said, we'll give a tree, you buy it.
Yeah, you buy one.
You get 2 of them.
We'll plant 2.
Yeah, we did have this discussion before, and I'm not familiar with specifically what
Yeah.
happened in that case, but what happens a lot of times is there's a large city right-of-way in a lot of neighborhoods, so a lot of people think they're getting a tree in their front yard, but they're getting a tree in the city right-of-way. So that happens a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and I think,
But they knocked on the door and asked if they wanted one.
There's often a lot of dialogue
And it's more than
between
one,
the
I know
city
it's
and the
another-
residents about that tree, where it goes, what species am I getting? We did door hangers this year. Every resident that's getting a tree in their right-of-way had a door hanger on their doorknob to say, you're getting a new tree in your boulevard or on your right-of-way, and here's the species and all that.
it's
So I
not
think it would be better
necessarily
to
on
set up
their
a
property.
program for the
It's
city of
not on their
Charlotte.
property, but it's in front of their house,
Yeah.
so we
Right.
thought we would communicate that to them, that we're planting a tree there.
But if we put in a program and you capped it for how many trees, like an area like Julie's, you talked about Montgomery Heights.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, you can let them know, you can do the drop off, say you want to purchase a tree, the city will donate a tree to match.
Yeah.
And then it fills up more, you get the canopy, you get.
That's why I bring up this 2 billion tree. Trudeau made the promise, and the NDP, they all made the promise. Haven't seen a tree yet.
Yeah. And I think, you
It's
know,
cash in.
with the Macaulay Park project, you kind of, you're getting off course a little bit with what the tree campaign was going to doors, but in this case, it was one of those parks that amalgamation happened, and you know, it was always a wetland, it's always going to be a wetland, but we're at a stage where it could use some upgrades as far as some trees and walkways and benches, you know, to make it like any other park. It's to the point now where, you know, we'll find out over time, you know, keeping that waterway open.
It's part of the water course.
It's part of the water course. It's very critical, but at the same time,
It's
you know,
part of the stormwater system.
yeah,
too, isn't it?
it's part of the stormwater system, and but we found that, you know, it's probably got the driest ball diamond in the city, even though it's in the bottom of
There's a lot of playground.
yeah, it's crazy, but you know, we've learned that wetlands that can be used for a variety of things, just not just to host water, right? So, and that's where we're at with this park. This park is, you know, when we did the trail over and everything, it was just, people just couldn't believe how nice of a park it was. And it's right there in front of them, but they didn't realize it, right? So now we got people going through it. We just need we trying this project with the water, the upper part of the creek, if it works, which I think it's going to, but it looks, you know, it helps out with, you know, with the water's there. It's a little more pleasing looking. The water evaporates a little bit too, so because this particular part, the water it's a very low. It's the very bottom of a big bowl. So there, until there's a lot of water, there's always water sitting in it because it can't run. And so it sits there and gets stagnant. So we're trying this project where it helps dry that process up until.
So
the
Terry,
water-
sometimes when we have the heavy rains and that, Macaulay Park will get flooded.
Right.
Yeah.
Bald Diamond included, it was just a big,
Oh, geez,
big
yeah.
lake out there.
Yeah.
So, will these changes help that any at all? Or is that just something that this involving water?
What we've done is we've taken the upper part where the water first comes in, and we're trying this.
Spring Lane.
Off Spring Lane,
Yeah.
and what might happen is, you know, what we did some studies, but we're scared to really touch it because we don't want to affect people's homes or. Right, but we're trying the upper side here, and it's a place we're near the playground, so we felt it was a safer place to try doing this project, and it looks like it's you know, it's really inviting now that you could put a few trees around that area. You could have a little more, you know, there is a gazebo there now, but you know, in that area we could have a few more trees and picnic tables and things if the trees were there. So, and that's the
So
idea.
you're talking about along the water course through the park?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And that would probably.
Is that
help.
right, Jessica? Along the water course, right?
Yeah, in that area, so,
That would probably help with the flooding, would it not?
yeah.
All the trees along there?
Yeah, definitely. Vegetation slows the flow of water, right? So you have
Yeah.
less flash flooding, you
Yeah.
get more infiltration in the ground because
Yeah.
the trees and shrubs slow the water
We'll
down.
slow the water down. And you know, the catch basin is another part of our equation down the road, right, where that's got to be looked at again too as well. But if, what we did find is that if you keep that creek in good shape, you don't have those flash floods anymore. We haven't had them in quite a while, because every 3-4 years we can go in and dredge it. But this process might save us from having to dredge it.
Not a bad idea, Councillor,
Yeah,
because
it's
you
a great
may not
idea.
need
It
that new
works,
box culvert
right?
down there.
'Cause,
That's what I'm trying to envision, so
Huh?
the flash floods
Eliminate
that we
that?
get.
Yeah, and
Stormwater
so
management
what happened
needs
was,
Raleigh?
it's basically 20 years now that we went in and we
Before
started,
John's
every
tired.
3-4 years we dredge it. But of course, that causes lots of problems because it's a watershed, and so you got the environment of both the city and the province. You know, all of a sudden, everybody wants a piece of the pie, and when you go to aggravate something, right? But at the end of the day, it's a good thing, but it's, when you go tampering with it, it causes people's concern.
And I'm trying to figure out how does it reduce the flash flooding? Like the volume of water that comes down during flash floods.
Right.
Obviously, whatever they've done, they've been able to have it escape quicker.
Right,
The swale's
Is that right?
larger.
the swale's
It holds
larger.
more water.
Okay.
And you can't go deeper either, so that's the problem, right? It's so low, it's so shallow, you can't dig down deeper, and this project also, it's helping out with the runoff, the silt.
So you still run the risk of, when you get heavy floods and that place used to
Yeah.
flood like a lake.
Oh,
That still has a
just-
risk.
Yeah, but
Just this helps.
this helps, and
Okay. I get it now. Yeah.
it might be able to keep us from having to have it dredged as often. It might
Yeah.
only have to be every 6 or 7 years instead of every 3 years.
Okay.
So,
Right on.
and it's great, it looks great, I hope it works. Yeah.
Council McLeod, can I ask you, do you have a contact list of residents that you communicate with, or
Yeah, I could
anybody you can
probably
help
supply that,
us
yeah, and
spread the word to?
And I thought that, and we could perhaps do a little PR on it too. Probably get, could even probably get, CBC or someone down there, and we could do a little interview on what it actually
Yeah.
is, because that's really what you need to do, right? It is, I know we sent an email out and it's on the website, but
Yeah.
until you really,
Yeah.
bring it to light. But yeah, I can supply some names of people that would
Or
be
we can
interested.
give you some
Yeah.
information that you can bless her.
Yeah, we'll work together now, for
Okay,
sure,
perfect.
moving forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the tree challenge or Macaulay Park?
Thank you very much.
Good. I have nothing else to add under reports. Introduction of new business, anybody got anything?
None.
All good?
There is something under Public Works for charging stations, is there, for electric cars?
There is.
Yep,
Yeah, Ramona can.
yep, just let me open the email here really quick so I have the right numbers in front of me.
There's getting to be quite a few more of them around now than there used to be.
What's that, sorry?
There's getting to be quite a few more electric cars around.
Oh, there is. It's good. Yeah.
I think we're looking at 12 altogether, right? 18?
Yeah.
And how many do we have now around town? Is it 3?
3 or 4.
There's,
Delta?
yeah, there's one at,
Delta's got one.
Gordon Drive,
yeah,
one at Delta.
there's one at Gordon Drive.
Canadian
There's
Tire.
one at the location where Efficiency PEI is now.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
one
right.
down here at the Delta.
And
There's one
Canadian
at
Tire.
UPEI at the new Sustainable Design Engineering Building.
And Canadian Tire.
And Canadian Tire, so that's 5 all told.
I count
So,
4.
Delta, Gordon Drive, new Efficiency PEI building.
So where's the new
Canadian-
building? I thought that was.
The Bell, the Bell.
Oh, Belvedere.
The old Belvedere.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
That's the 5th one, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so last year we applied in a partnership. So Maritime Electric was sort of our lead applicant. Adam McKenzie was put together the application. There's 7 communities that are across PEI that are part of the application, and we're one of them. So the total that we applied for, I think it's 27 chargers altogether, and 18 of them would be installed in the city of Charlottetown.
And do you have locations picked out for them yet, Ramona?
We do have preliminary locations. So we've done enough groundwork on those locations to know that they're feasible, but they're not, there's still opportunity to adjust. So in that would have what we did is we put 2 at each location, because your installation cost is the same whether you do 1 or 2.
But you have some
And
for City Hall.
we have 2 for City Hall, 2 for Victoria Park, 2 for Queen Street, not on Victoria Row. It's actually not on, it's kind of around the corner from Victoria Row. 2 at each of the 3 parkades, 2 at West Royalty Community Center, 2 at Hillsborough Park Community Center, 2 at Malcolm Dara Community Center. And then there was going to be an additional one on Kent Street. So,
Good.
yeah,
Good.
so we're trying to spread
Good
them
choices.
out, make sure that they're in like sort of every community.
Yeah.
But again, those locations are subject
Are
to
flexible.
change if
Yeah.
we feel that we have a better option available.
So September 22nd, have you heard any rumors on Telsa's announcement on the new battery? Tesla, I should be saying. I think it's
Yep.
Tesla.
I haven't. I mean, I've been following the news like everybody, but we don't know what they're going to announce and how long that'll be production ready. It could be that they found something, but it might be 3 or 4 years before they're mass producing.
But they're making an announcement this week in the city.
Yeah.
Tesla.
750 miles on
Mm-hmm.
their batteries.
So
Yeah.
are these chargers, are they all the same, or is there some going to be faster chargers than others, or?
So these are all level 2 chargers. So level 3 is your fastest.
Right.
Those are like under a half an
20
hour
minutes
sort of
drive,
thing. The level 1s are like leave them overnight, and the level 2s are somewhere in the middle. So I mean, but really to get up to a level 3, it's a huge investment.
Yeah.
So the province is doing a couple level 3s as part of their project, but mostly they're doing level 2s. These would tie in with the level 2s that the province has. So it would all be on one network. They'd be connected.
Right. So roughly, just for general purposes, how long would it take to charge on a level 2?
What do you know?
4
Like,
hours or something like that? Or is
If
it-
you're going from 0, maybe it's like
For-
4 to
for the-
6 hours.
for the 2?
Yeah. But you
Yeah.
can top up, right? So
Right.
even if you're there, you plug in for 2
Yeah.
hours while you get your groceries or something, that's going to make a difference in your
My
bill.
sister-in-law lives in Comox, Courtney, and she is working in Nanaimo. No, she's going to Victoria, so Nanaimo, there was a charging station, or charging facility, and she would charge up there to top up to get to Victoria. Same thing coming back to Comox, Courtney. So, yeah, it's the top up that's very important.
Yeah, it just
And the
increases.
problem with electric cars, they're a great idea, but as soon as you turn on your lights, turn on your
You're
heater,
draining, yeah.
turn on a radio, guess what? The battery is being,
So that was on the
Is it-
documentary on that, right?
yeah.
They left.
So some days Mel comes home and she has to turn off the heat because her charge is at a point where she doesn't want to take any.
Yeah, no, you definitely have to. There's some
Yeah.
adjusting
Combinations.
needs to be made.
But it's a great idea.
So NRCan has approved they loved our application, they loved that it was collaborative, they loved that we worked with the utility, they've approved it. It is right now with IRAC, just making sure, because Maritime Electric is putting money on the table for this project, so they have to get IRAC approval to ensure that they're okay to be making that contribution. We're waiting kind of on that until we move ahead, but they are going to put they're going to put one in front of the Maritime Electric building on Kent Street. And it will be for EV vehicles, but it won't be exclusively for their Maritime Electric EV vehicle. So they're going to put one in, and that will go to Public Works and Police for review before we give approval to move ahead with that, and it would be could be used. We're also, there's another stream of NRCan funding available right now, and Hamad's been working on an application for that. So that is for like EV education and promotion. The province is working on an education program that they're going to launch provincially, and we're going to work with them on that. We've applied for that to purchase an EV vehicle for the city, and we will be applying for that. But we'll bring that back to committee, and if once we find out whether they're willing to honor those funds or not, and if committee would like to, include that in our budget for next year, we could purchase a vehicle that could be used for city purposes, whether that's superintendent.
Wow.
I think we're well behind the time for that. I think
We need to get moving on that.
More than one, too.
Yeah.
I think Public Works should be looking at
Would
it.
you support?
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And maybe just on that point, Hamad, maybe you should just get in touch with Scott and let him know that that program is, that vehicles are eligible under that program, because perhaps he would like to also,
So
we would like to increase our application.
one of the location spots, I was just thinking about that, is the is our public works garage, like, maybe that area should have one probably, right? Somewhere near the airport there, or just.
Yeah, we
somewhere
talked
where-
about that this
we get
morning
into it,
with the
we're gonna
new
need to
vehicle, with
source
the
it.
new building, that perhaps we put in an additional
I
two
was thinking-
there. So just in case down the road we have our superintendents or any of our crew using them, at least we've got some of the infrastructure already in place.
I think it'd be a smart move.
No, I think, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna look pretty bad,
Yeah, we need to get it, yeah.
sticking with fossil fuels.
And that building's very exciting. I don't know if people are following sort of
Yeah.
the design
What's it?
process on that, or the
Public Works
new,
building?
the new City Works building.
Fire station's gonna be more exciting.
Well, they'll both be
New
exciting.
rink's gonna be more exciting.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You know,
Any
that
other new
would be
business?
Something, just
Be
thinking
quiet there, Cindy.
Any other new business?
out loud, I was just following up on that point, but when you're thinking of long-term planning, if Public Works is gonna be maybe a department that's going to adopt electric vehicles and stuff, like I was thinking Malcolm Dara for the spot, and not that I wouldn't want to take it if that's what we're thinking, because I think it's great, but I'm trying to think, you know, are they gonna park their car there for 6 hours and go home, because there's not really a grocery store near my spot where they can run in and top up their car or whatever, but if it was meaning that we could turn a whole department into an electrical buggy, to me, would that make more sense to put more infrastructure in that area, if that was our,
Well,
part of our sustainable
As
plan?
we're sitting here, I was thinking like St. Peter's Road area, probably could use one, right, coming in, like a home hardware area there, or somewhere in
Oh,
that
so
Belvedere
that
corner
area,
intersection,
yeah.
that major, you know, part
More
of the city.
central where people
Yeah,
could plug
where
in
they can
and-
go into a store or whatever while they're charging, because, you know,
I'm just thinking practical use of something like that,
Yeah.
just, you know, I know it's nice to share the resources, but
Yeah. But Councilor McCabe, I think that the discussion that was at Public Works, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kelly, but it's to get the program going, and if people don't use it,
we'll move
they
it.
won't expand it. So
But that's right, so I don't know if people in East Royalty, who I can't really get on a bus system, are gonna be plugging in their smart car at Malcolm Dara, so I'm just thinking
Yeah, you're right.
out there, is that the most practical place if we're trying to promote?
They're not getting on the bus because they all have electric cars to drive. And now they'll need to charge them.
You think they have electric cars?
Yeah.
Really?
Anyway, that's
I
locations.
hear what you're saying. I mean,
I'm just trying to think of
maybe you're
trying to really push something like this off the ground, where would be the,
the
not
best-
that I'm
best
saying I don't
location.
want it, but
It's
I'm just
always
saying, like,
location,
let's
location,
think.
location.
Can you think of another location in that area that would maybe be a better fit?
That we own,
Well, the
that we
Malcolm
are.
Derrick,
that we own.
That we own? Well, I mean, I think of kind of Terry's area and my area are pretty close.
plus the fire hall.
Where, you know, if someone in my area, if we used Hillsborough Park, you know, to go over and plug in,
But he-
I'm thinking more,
Like, what about like the fire station?
infrastructure in like Public Works new spot where you're having 5 vehicles that you can plug in versus, because you're saying if we're going to go fleet-wise, that we're looking at doing electrical, long-term, wouldn't it make more sense to put the infrastructure, the money there?
Yeah, and I would think when they go that route, there would be electrical charging stations in the building. Like most people have an electric car when they plug in at night. Would there not be electrical charges when they pull the car in at night? to
In the
charge them
new,
overnight?
the new City Works facility, is
Yeah.
that what we're talking about? Currently, they don't have anything in their plans for EV charging.
Right.
So that's, we had a discussion about this a couple days ago, because Hamad's been participating in the design meetings. And so one of the things is we were thinking is like, maybe we offer a couple of these
think
from this
that'd be
program
smart.
or for another program, so that we can get them in location. But indoors wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm not sure if it would be eligible for the NRCan funding because it's indoors, part of our facility or not, but indoors would be good regardless of funding, probably.
Could we ever do a survey or some sort of, get some feedback from the residents in our city to kind of find out who actually like,
Well, here's the other side of it though, Julie. Are you gonna buy an electric car in your area if there's no place to charge it? But if
no.
it's a place to charge it, would you consider buying an electric vehicle?
If I had to park at the Malcolm Dara Center and go up to Parent Street? No. No.
if you had to go to a meeting at Malcolm Dare, would you plug it in while you're there?
Yep, but unless I'm going to the after-school program or Cubs, I probably won't be at Malcolm Dare Center too many nights.
But if you lived in that area and you wanted to charge it, you wouldn't use it?
I wouldn't park my car there and go home and come
No.
back 2 hours or 4 hours later.
No.
Really? I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't, and I live across the street. I'd have a hard time leaving my car
I
out
would
there.
think more of like Ellis Brothers, Fire Hall, somewhere where you could do something else while you're getting your car charged, because, you know, it's considerable amount of time, right?
Yeah.
Well, they have it at Canadian Tire.
Again, that's what I'm saying, like, that's probably
I
the
could spend 2
locations
hours
where I
in
think you're
Canadian
best to
Tire.
have them, is more in business center, as you're heading into the outer communities, that's where you want it, right?
That's all. It made sense when you said go in and get your groceries and you
Yeah.
come out and your car is charged. Or for me, and I'm not trying to.
No, no, it's good.
I was
It's a
just
good
trying to give
discussion.
this
Good
discussion,
perspective.
yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, so
Yeah.
Amand, we're not breaking new ground here, right?
No.
There are many charger stations around the country, like Mississauga, for example. There must be best practices where they put them, you know, install these chargers, where they found, no, this is not gonna work, we have to go somewhere else. Can we get some, as Councillor McKay was asking, can we get some information on them?
So these are all good points and concerns brought up. As Councillor Bernard said, that seeing chargers visible encourages folks to buy electric vehicles. That's one of the biggest concerns. While a study showed that there are two main concerns while buying electric vehicles. One is lack of infrastructure visible to folks, and the other one is the driving range, which we were talking about earlier as well. So putting it at prominent locations where people go often, either for school or for playground purposes, would show that there's infrastructure and the city is doing stuff. And I totally understand that we should have more activities available for folks to do, so in front of grocery stores and stuff. But as a city, we should move forward for common areas where everyone could visibly see it. So for now, our target should be showing that we're doing something and we're working towards it. Everyone individually in their house could plug their normal level 1 charger in one of these normal sockets and get their cars charged up overnight. And they could even install level 2 chargers at home. So that's how charging cars could work for individuals personally.
So, man, I think Ramona
I
may have
didn't know
answered
that.
it.
That's neat.
The Charger 2, how long does it take roughly for a Charger 2 to charge a car? Let's say the charge is down half. You pull in, 20 minutes would do it? 10 minutes would do it?
So 20 minutes won't charge your car into half. It would for level 3, but for level 2 you would have to spend around 3-4 hours at least.
Even if you're only down half a charge?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's longer than you think.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Mel was saying, it's
So,
it's a great option, an electric car, but it's those charging stations, if it's not level 3, you have to sit and just read a book and.
Yeah.
So should we reevaluate?
I'm just looking
what to
here,
get level
it's,
3s?
it's 4 to 5
Very-
hours
my point.
to
Yeah,
do a
4
full from
hours.
0 to full on a level 2.
Yeah.
What's
But
that?
you won't hit- you never go down to 0.
How long
No.
you want?
You can't go
No.
down to 0.
Sorry, Ramona, what was that?
For a level 2 charger to go from 0% battery to full is 4 to 5 hours.
Okay, so what's a level 3?
DC fast charger, so it won't use alternative current. It would directly inject it into the battery, and that could go in 30 minutes. It could give you half battery.
So why wouldn't we look at doing level 3s?
Because they're
expensive.
like 6 times as much as a
They're
level
very
2.
costly,
Maybe more, like
Around 60 grand would be
versus 10.
per one, right?
excluding the infrastructure cost of getting that electric.
Because then you have to get the, and I think that was the issue we had in Public Works, is Maritime Electric doesn't have, we don't have a nuclear power plant here that could, you know, charge all that so quickly,
So
so
quick,
it's,
yeah.
that's how we want to.
So if we put solar panels on the new building,
Yeah.
would that charge the electric chargers?
I don't think so.
I mean, you are using your solar panels to create electricity, so couldn't the real electricity go towards charging? Yes, but would it increase then your need for solar? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, I think they're looking at doing about half the roof with solar would meet the building needs for electricity. So they're not currently looking at electricity needs for charging as well, but that would definitely increase it quite a bit.
But isn't the process is that everything goes into the grid?
It has to go in the grid
It has
first.
to go into the grid
Yeah.
first, right? All
It's
your
the same
solar
as the
panels.
wa-
Yeah.
panels out at the
And then
Miltondale.
you build up credits.
I
Yeah,
just wonder if it makes
Those
more
panels go
sense.
into the grid, and then
Do it like
exactly.
first
But our
access.
goal in those buildings is
What's that?
net
To do it
zero,
right
so
for the
everything
onset?
we
Yeah.
use,
Yeah.
we want to, like, in
Agreed.
theory, we want it all to be coming from solar.
But maybe what you're, like, it seems like everyone has so many charging stations that are one and some, and they have twos and they have threes, and I think it's a cost factor thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
It costs so much money. So it's important that, probably, this discussion on locations, that we, we have so many ones, we should make sure we spread them out in the right places, right? Because I know, like, the documentary showed when they left from Ontario to go to Detroit, Michigan, they had mapped out how much time it's
Yeah,
gonna
I've
take.
seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that,
and of course, the station was busy, and so they said, well, let's go to that station. Well, that station just so happened to be a station 2 instead of a 3, or instead of a 1, and they were there for hours and hours.
But let me ask you this,
So,
let me ask you this. If you're looking to the future, electric vehicles are coming on the street, they're
Yeah.
getting better all the
Yeah.
time. So when you start installing chargers that take 4 hours, where is that gonna be in 5 years' time? If you've got
Yeah.
the 3s that are gonna even get better, are you gonna wanna plug into a 4-hour one, or are you
Yeah.
gonna plug into a 20-minute one?
Yeah. But
So
I-
although there's less,
yeah.
I think it'll get used a lot more. You can just walk in the grocery store, plug it in, come out and be full charge.
But I think it's more of a case of Maritime Electric saying that they just can't.
They don't have the capacity.
They can't supply that kind of power right away.
And Maritime Electric is owned by Fortis, so if they start making money in this, then they'll
Then-
start looking up in the
Up in the infrastructure.
infrastructure.
Yeah.
So that reminds me, under this committee, is this committee not responsible for Maritime Electric to get the LED lights? That we're not
Yeah,
done yet?
yeah. Public Works, but it's,
No, we switched over to this one. It was Public Works. Yeah, I think if you turn to reference, it's under this one.
I thought we looked it up recently and we decided it was Public Works.
Yeah, I think we
I
decided
can
it was
look
Public
again
Works.
though.
Yeah, check there, I may be
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
I will say too, just on the Maritime Electric, it's funny timing on this because Kim Griffin reached out to me today too, and they are currently looking to reposition themselves as more sustainable,
Yeah.
like looking to do these types
Yeah.
of things. So Kim said they're doing right now, they want to do focus groups, but they can't with COVID. So
Right.
she's going to send me like a sort of a questionnaire this week that she wants us to fill out. And like some of this information on this are things that I can include
Yeah.
in that feedback as well.
Yeah.
Just-
And the point that's being made by Councilor Bernard, where are we at the level 1? It's and I don't think Maritime Electric has the capacity to do it, but they are planning to add another jet engine down there at their plant, only for emergency backup.
Are they?
Yeah.
And shut down, what about the coal-fired one?
That's been shut down for years.
Yeah, but they use it for emergency.
Yeah, that'll
Well,
be
this-
gone.
that'll be
The
gone.
next couple of years, it's to get that out of
Because they
there.
use that for Dorian.
Did they?
Yeah.
They did charge it up. But it's just, again, you're right, I'd love to have the Cadillac, but we can't afford it, so I'll go with the Lada, or in between.
Yeah.
but anyway, it's good discussion.
Little Lada?
They will become obsolete though, but as will a lot of the technology that's happening in
Things are
EVs. It's
happening
changing so fast.
So
right?
fast, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, anything else to add on that?
I just wanted, were you able to bring up the terms of reference?
I'm looking at it right here, right now.
I was sure it switched over.
I'm pretty sure it's Public Works, Terry.
It was.
It was, but I think we talked about it, but we left it at Public Works. 'Cause I know Scott's in consultation with them all the time.
It was.
No, I think still is.
And
Peter,
this is-
you drew them up, didn't you, terms of reference?
Yeah. Pretty-
I think it's kind of in both. So we say here, and this is environment and sustainability, we see to oversee the implementation of the Charlottetown's community energy plan through corporate and community initiatives, including but not limited fleet replacement, street lighting,
Right.
new facility design, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's our job to make sure that gets implemented, but I think Public Works is the
contract.
Kind of
It's no
directs,
different. It's like
yeah.
the
Now,
charging
it
stations.
gets switched over to here, and it's this committee that's responsible to get Maritime Electric off their whatever and get more. To me, it's way behind schedule. The LED lights being switched over.
Oh, it is.
Way
slow.
behind
Yeah,
schedule.
it is slow, yeah.
And we talked about reducing to 5 years at one time. It was supposed to be
Yeah.
a 10-year plan. It's got to be
Yeah.
more than 10 years now.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of them coming up unless the light burns out. That's
Right.
costing the city a lot of money.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
What's our electrical?
And if we
bill
don't
for
push them,
streetlights?
it's $1
Over
million.
I agree.
It's $1 million
100%, Councillor Bernard.
1.1 million.
Yeah,
So if we don't push them,
1.1.
why would they?
Turn the lights on.
Well, hopefully, Ramona, maybe that's a conversation you could have with
Mr. Adams?
no, with Maritime Electric on when they're talking about sustainability, that you know, we need faster.
But we'd like a schedule.
Yeah.
We're doing a revised program scheduling to fully implement that program. So there has been some recent discussion over the last few months about that issue.
Okay.
Any
Yeah,
questions,
it's
yeah?
tricky. It isn't clear. It isn't clear as here as I would like it, because it has Public Works to develop and oversee a street lighting program.
But that's
then
just a regular street lighting program.
Street
Yeah.
lights falls under public works.
And,
On our advisory.
yeah.
But it's again, it's the issue of like the charging stations.
Yeah.
We're the idea people, they're responsible for
Yeah.
implementing it.
Well, anytime there's a subdivision goes in, Public Works will be responsible for streetlights.
Yeah.
But what she read off,
Yeah.
the sustainability of
Yeah.
the LEDs is what this committee.
So maybe what we could do
That's
is,
where those terms of
if you
reference
wanted
kind
to,
of
Well,
give
overlap
Peter
a
a
little bit,
recommendation from Environment Sustainability
If
with
I
clarity,
from
and at the
planning
Council Advisory
and
Committee,
goals
in next meeting, we can
sustainability.
clarify that and
it probably should stay
get
there,
input
because they're already dealing with
as to,
it anyway.
you know, just how much do we really want to take on.
They should be practicing.
But I know Scott seems to be working quite close with them.
I'm a little nervous of taking it on as a lead.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But yes,
But-
Peter and I can talk about
but
it.
have that discussion with Scott.
We allowed to put it back in the public works, put it back in their terms of reference.
Yeah.
But I think it's left.
That
in-
replacement part,
it's
you're
in the
right.
gray area,
Yeah.
and nobody's talking to it,
Yeah.
so.
Well, we
They're
just
not
said
hurt.
if it stayed with Public Works, but Public Works best practice would be following the sustainability pilot or projected plan that you
Yeah.
have.
I think a review
Right,
of
so
that.
that underneath their terms of reference, it's like sustainability should be kind of a part of every department.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
sense of how are we working on
And-
bettering our city and making it more
Yeah.
sustainable.
Get out of the silos.
Yeah.
Correct. So whether it's, it makes sense that Public Works would have streetlights, but in that, they would have the goal of working with
Right.
this department to say,
Yeah.
how are we gonna make it the most sustainable as
So
possible?
I would probably make a suggestion that we.
Pardon me?
It's under the sustainability plan that we have
Yeah.
for the city.
Correct, so that it's just,
Their plan is supposed to be applied to every situation.
yeah, it's just more that consultation, how
So-
can we do better?
But-
in each
And that's
department.
why I think, Peter, under this committee, they're responsible to deal with Maritime Electric to get the LEDs against schedule
Yeah.
when they're
Maybe
put
more
in.
space than we'll want to.
Or they can
Yeah, I
meet,
think-
you know,
We'll put it on our agenda for the 22nd, because we're meeting again this month. And
Are we?
that'll give you time to hook up with Scott and Kim at Maritime Electric, and then discussions with Peter and Scott as well. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay?
So the next meeting is the
It's
22nd?
the 20, I think it's the 22nd.
So we'll have something ready for the
Yeah.
pathway?
This is technically our August meeting.
Oh,
Yeah, so we'll have our September
Yeah.
22nd regular meeting.
August, September
22nd.
1.
We take
Yes, 22nd.
22nd, yeah.
My wedding anniversary.
Yeah, we're going back
How
to
many
the
years?
fourth, fourth Tuesday of every
Fourth
month.
Tuesday of
What
every
do you
month.
think?
30,
How many?
30,
36.
36.
All right.
That
Any
long?
other-
Sorry, Mom.
Anything else on the new business?
No, sir.
See none? I
Motion
need a
to
call
adjourn.
for adjournment right here.
Sir, thank you very much.
Councilor McCabe, second.